Size does not matter. Size does not matter. Angelica Rojas.
What is your biggest achievement for today? Is it meeting the love of your life for the third time? Or is it climbing the tallest mountain? Or for us with arthritis, the top of the stairs? Let me tell you about my childhood achievements. When I was in preschool, my goal was to make sure that my finger paintings are posted in the best work corner of the classroom. And so I made sure that none of my fingerprints were in a array. But what really made me happy was when I was able to sleep during nap time. I simply cannot force myself to sleep. That's why when I mastered nap time, I was not only the proudest, but the happiest little girl in the classroom. In grade school, I discovered the top 10 list. And so I made sure that my name is always on that list. Around this time, I also discovered that I speak differently from my classmates. They would speak in one dialect and I in another. So we would communicate either in Filipino or in English. And I was not yet a Toastmasters at that time, so I really had some difficulty. But I promised myself, Angelica, by hook or by crooked English, you will still be able to make friends. Promise. And I did. More than that name on that list, making friends was my biggest achievement at that time. In high school, our sectioning was based on grades. And so the goal now was to make sure that I'm always in the first section. And despite the love-hate relationship with algebra, thankfully, my grades are always enough for me to be in the first section. Now, teenage years, chaotic. From puppy love to dissecting cats to learning about the internet, hanging out with friends, pimple problem, plus raging hormones. Chaotic. But as long as I don't get a 0 on my math quiz, or my crush wouldn't see my pimple, I was a happy teenager with raging hormones. Then off to college. When I thought I was already one of the best students in high school, college taught me that I was just ordinary. And because of the academic difficulty, the goal now was to make sure that I graduate on time in 4 years. And so I studied day and night. And from 50 students in first year, we dwindled to 15, and only 4 of us graduated on time. I was so proud holding that diploma. But I was happy because as a sheltered child like me, I was able to survive being away from home for almost 4 years with only a few bruises and scratches and minimal parental control. Then I proceeded to law school. Of course, there's only one goal, and that is to clinch that ATTY dot before my name. And after one failed attempt, hundreds of cups of coffee, blood, sweat, and tears, finally, I was able to achieve my goal. But I just feel so blessed that I did not lose my sanity, I think, for that coveted title. Then what? That was the question I asked myself after. Then what? That was the question I asked myself every day as I unconsciously plunged into depression. Every morning I would wake up unmotivated, lost, confused. And despite being blessed with work right away, I truly felt at that time that I was not just sad, but truly incapable of being happy. Thankfully, there were people around me who noticed before I did. And together, we realized that for so long I had goals. And suddenly, I found myself with none. So I create some bigger goals for myself. At the age of 29, I will be pregnant with my second child. At the age of 30, I will be a millionaire, driving my own car, parking it in my own garage. Mind you, I'll be turning 31 this June. Not yet married, definitely not yet pregnant. I have a car to my name, but I'm too scared to drive it. I still live with my parents, and I may not be broke, but definitely not yet a millionaire. Reality came crashing in. I was depressed again. So I took a step back. Look at myself while growing up. Yes, I have big goals, but I was happy because of the smaller goals and achievements that I set to myself. That's when I realized what I was missing. I forgot to celebrate my smaller victories. I failed to appreciate just waking up in the morning, or to congratulate myself for doing a good job in the pleading, or for reducing caffeine intake from 5 cups to 4 cups in one day. I always thought that size mattered in magnitude and in numbers. As they say, the bigger, the better. It may be true in some aspect, but not always in happiness and success. As health expert Eloise Best once said, the shortcut to happiness is to count them and not to weigh them. So that one small achievement is better than none, right? So I made a conscious effort to celebrate the big and my smaller achievements, to count my blessings rather than focus on my setbacks. And slowly but surely, I was happy again. So back to my original question. What is your biggest achievement for today? For me, it's being here in front of you and winning, rather ending my speech. Contest chair.
A minute of silence is being observed. Contestant number 2, Nedo Sasing, People of the Shadows. People of the Shadows, Nedo Sasing.
Have you seen a sofa that went up the stairs on its own? How about a piano that broke into pieces on its own? Sounds creepy. Do you know people who live in the shadows, in small, dark, damp places that smell awful? Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters. We do community outreach. We go out and look into the shadows, in dark alleys, under bridges, beside sewers, and we see them, people of the shadows. They live there in hand-to-mouth existence, from scavenging, from leftovers, from dole-outs. We give, and they are grateful. Some of them wish they could give something in return, but they do not have the means. Many of them will live their whole lives receiving and never be able to give back. But there is good in them. Most of the time we don't see it, but there are times when circumstances reverse our situation and we see the good in them. In September 2009, Typhoon Ondoy, international name Storm Ketsana, hovered over Metro Manila. It was monsoon season, and the typhoon sucked in the monsoon rains and dumped them in the mega city of 12 million people. The Marikina River east of Metro Manila overflowed its banks, muddy river water rushed through the street in Marikina City, where our house was, and rose quickly. There was no time to evacuate. "Everybody, up the stairs!" I shouted to my wife and 3 kids. As we scampered up the stairs, the floodwaters also went up the stairs and flooded the 2nd floor. "To the roof, out through the window!" I shouted again. We huddled on the roof the whole night as the rain poured on and the flood swirled just inches below us. Our big dog, named Sultan, disappeared in the swirling waters. It was the worst natural disaster in the history of the city and in our lives. By morning, the floodwaters had receded, and we came down. Thick, filthy, smelly, slippery mud was all over the place. The sofa was stuck halfway up the stairs. The piano was broken into several pieces. Every step we took was a balancing act as we slipped and fell and splattered in the mud. Then, woof, 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 Sultan, our dog, was outside. Somehow, he was able to swim to another roof and survive. Our dog's appearance gave us a momentary sigh of relief. But soon, the gloomy realization set in. We lost practically everything. And our house looked and smelled like the sewer. Then we heard voices. 9 people were outside, people from the outreach, the people of the shadows. We were so desperate. Our hearts were broken. How could we even begin to clean this horrible mess? And then they came. They came every day for the next 5 days and took over the clearing and cleaning and salvaging with amazing efficiency. They are experts in clearing mud and filth and grime. After all, they are people of the shadows. All their life they have been receiving. Now they were giving us desperately needed help. Our house was the first to be cleared spot clean in the entire neighborhood. Fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, there are times when the people who have less in life have more to give. Sometimes we shun them, maybe even fear them, because they live in the shadows. But they are just as human as you and me. And like you and me, they too desire a life with meaning. But misfortune has pushed them to the shadows. Most of the time, we do not see the despair and sadness in their life. We despair when disaster strikes us. To them, every day is a disaster. Every day a struggle to survive. And we can all do something about that. We can go out, look into their world, peer into the shadows, reach out, give even just a bit of joy into their sadness, a glimmer of hope in their despair, a ray of light in their darkness. We never know. In certain times of despair and darkness in our own lives, we just might gratefully discover that the people who can bring hope and light are the people of the shadows. Contestant.
minute of silence is being served for the judges to fill out their ballots. Our next contestant, Josef Victor Chiongbian. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Josef Victor Chiongbian.
Hey Dad, you know what? When I grow up, I want to be a hero. What should I be? A fireman? A policeman? Or Spider-Man? What do you think, Dad? I was 8 years old, and he just looked at me blankly and said, "Hey, son, it doesn't matter." Friends, fellow Toastmasters, how many of you here have dreams and ambitions? As a child, I have always wanted to become a hero so I could rescue people from villains and save houses and buildings on fire. But what did Dad mean when he said, "It doesn't matter"? As I grew older, what he said continued to bother me. Many years passed and I was ready to go to college. There was no course on being a hero, so I asked my dad for advice on what course to take. Again, with that familiar blank look, he said, "Hey, son, it doesn't matter." That was it. He really did not care about my future. I thought to myself, I'll just take whatever course I want. Because if it doesn't work out, it's okay. Because it doesn't matter anyway. That phrase became the single most life-shattering statement my dad has ever told me. Feeling left alone, I enrolled in biology, shifted to information technology, shifted again to nursing. Pretty soon, I earned a master's degree in shifting courses. I never heard anything from my dad. I'm sure he thought, it doesn't matter. After many years spent in college, I finally completed a degree in nursing, so I can still be a hero in some future pandemic. In preparation for the licensure exam, I enrolled myself in the best review center in the city. But what made me really confident that I was going to pass was the help of my mom, who called on all the angels and saints, plus Buddha, Allah, Yahweh, and Shiva. I didn't know that my mom was ecumenical too. And because of all her efforts, I was the only one in class who did not pass. Everyone was celebrating, and I can even join in. Now this time, my dad did something different. He sat beside me, cried with me, put his arm around my shoulder and said, "Son, it doesn't matter." What? I was so distraught and heartbroken. With so much pain in my heart, I confronted him. I said, "Dad, do you think this is funny? Why doesn't anything I do matter to you? Do you not care about my future? Don't I matter to you?" My father is a man of few words. And for once, he explained. He said, "Son, so what if you flunked in the licensure exam? What I think or say to you about your future doesn't matter. What matters most is what you yourself want to be. Now pick up the pieces and then start over." And then he told me something that I'll never forget. It doesn't matter where you start. What matters most is where you choose to finish. OMG! I never knew until then that my dad is a philosopher. Plus, he knew the lyrics of Barbara Cook's song. All these years, I thought he was just a plain old dad. It is amazing how situations in life can make us change our perspective. From being a life-shattering statement The words, "it doesn't matter," became the single most life-saving lesson from my dad. 3 simple words, full of wisdom. And he was right. Isn't it strange? I dreamed to be a fireman, studied biology and information technology, trained as a nurse, worked as a waiter, and as a hotel receptionist. And guess what? Even in the middle of the lockdown, I was recently appointed as the vice president of Marriott International Hotels. Toastmasters Club. My journey may not end there, but that doesn't bother me because, as my dad said, what matters most is where we finish, and we choose to finish where it is perfect for us. I have learned that making changes is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it takes courage, even strength, to admit the need to change. There is no shame in changing course when you find yourself stuck in a rut. You must have the courage to get out of there and go towards what makes it right for you. Fellow Toastmasters and friends, I am sharing this story because some of you out there may be in the same predicament. And if you are, just bear in mind that not knowing where to start, it doesn't matter. Spending too much time changing courses in life, it doesn't matter. And failing too many times, it doesn't matter. Because it will not matter where you start. It should not matter where you start. It doesn't matter where you start. What matters most is where you choose to finish. And we choose to finish where it is perfect for us. Back to you, contest host.
We observe a minute of silence for the judges to fill out their ballot. Our fourth contestant, Ana Luisa Guevarra. Man in a woman. Man in a woman. Ana Luisa Guevarra.
Who among the beautiful crowd over here thinks and feels that she is a strong, independent woman? Comment down below and I'll check your answers later. But really, what does it take to become a strong, independent woman? For me, it's a man. Oh dear, not that man who just ghosted you, but a man. M-A-N. M. Major heartbreak. During the day when I received the magnificent news that I passed the college of my dreams, I got a call from the US. Oh, this must be my father. I'm excited to tell him. Hello, Pa. What? My father just died. My father died during the day that I was supposed to celebrate. I didn't know what to do, to think. I just wanted to see my mom. I rushed home, and then when I opened the door, I froze. Because I saw her already crying. I took a deep breath and remembered what my father told me. Alu, take care of your mom, okay? Sucked it in, went to my mom and hugged her. Ma, it's okay. We are going to make it. I promise to make all of our dreams come true, even without Papa. At 16, instead of dreaming about what to do in college, I woke up. I became the stronghold of my mother. Then, college happened, which brings me to my next one, which is A, adversities. During my college, I got accepted in an internship application in Spain. Boy, you must be thinking, wow, Spain, how magnificent. Imagine Europe, first solo flight, first long-haul flight. And guess what is the first thing that I wanted to do when I arrived? You guessed it right. It's to pee. I asked the person beside me, excuse me, do you know where the restroom is? He answered, lo siento, pero no habla inglés. Okay, I find you cute though. Ask the next person, excuse me, do you know where the restroom is? You know, wee. He told me, no. Put up my phone, Google Maps, toilet, went there, and finally had a sigh of relief. Even in the smallest things, adversities happen. What I say, come in prepared, or better yet, consider wearing diapers on a long-haul flight. But being prepared did not prepare me to my last one, which is N. Never enough. I am an achiever, but that didn't spare me from the negative comments. I remember one time I won a contest, second place. I was so excited to come home with my silver medal. I walked in, guys, look, silver medal. You know what they told me? That only? Why not gold? And another thing, I also wanted to join the choir. In fact, I auditioned and I sang this. Never enough, never enough. They told me my voice was never enough. Well, upon hearing that, I'll give it to them. But just recently, I experienced something similar in the office. I was given a project that was so big that the bonus of the entire company depended on it. With that much of a pressure, I ensured that I gave my very best. That meant long nights at the office, early mornings at the office, and even lunchless days. You see, I'm getting slim. But then, even in the simplest and tiniest errors, my project manager made me feel that I was never enough. Know what he told me? This is it? That you call that effort? You're not doing enough. What you did, that's rubbish. That's nothing. I told myself that I will not be affected. Eventually, the project went well and everyone received their bonus. Everyone was happy. As for me, I transferred to another project team and I am relatively happier. Fellow Toastmasters and friends, that is my man. Major heartbreak, adversities, and being never enough. And you might experience that at some point of your life or maybe experiencing it now. But having man is not enough for you to become a strong, independent woman. What you need to do is take that man. Learn from it. Do not allow your man to put you down in the dirt. Instead, use that to lift yourself up. Rise, learn, and become wiser. Again, the choice is yours. What choice will you be? Comment it down below and I'll check it later. Contest chair.
We observe a minute of silence for the judges to fill out their ballots.